welcome to Studio 5. DeVon Franklin is here with a new audiobook titled It Takes a Woman. Johnnie Christmas is here with a new graphic novel called Swim Team. And we have your Studio 5 first look at the long-awaited Top Gun Maverick. We've got lots to get to, so let's begin with the countdown of this week's top 5 stories in the world of uplifting entertainment. Here are the first 2.
At number 5. Well wishes for actor Chris Pratt and Katherine Schwarzenegger, who welcomed their second baby to the growing family. The couple posted this birth announcement. We're excited to announce the birth of our second daughter, Eloise Christina Schwarzenegger Pratt. Mama and baby are doing well. We feel beyond blessed and grateful. At number 4. A member of the famed Hootie and the Blowfish, drummer Jim Sonny Sonnenfeld peels back the curtain on his life with the band, with new music being released in July.
In addition to your new music, you also have a memoir coming out as well.
Swimming with the Blowfish is a personal redemption story. His rise from a rock star life plagued by drugs, alcohol, sex, and more.
I want people to know that no matter what you think of someone in the media or in the entertainment world, it's rarely all of the story. So what I had to tell about was that there are successes, there are victories, but there's tragedies, there's difficulties that often the public doesn't see. One of those being my recovery from addiction, and so I wanted to give them that picture. And it's a nice story. I hope that it's for people who have enjoyed the band and for people that maybe haven't ever been big fans. It's a story that maybe will touch anyone's heart.
That begins this week's countdown. We now turn our attention to the latest work from filmmaker, preacher, and author DeVon Franklin. There's an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. DeVon offers a personal twist on the proverb with his newest project, an audiobook called It Takes a Woman. In it, he introduces us to the women who raised him, a village of love that came together to shape him and grow him into the man that he is today.
Hi, I'm DeVon Franklin. My dad died when I was just 9 years old. My life could have turned out very differently, but I got blessed with a village of hope. These are all the strong, powerful, outspoken women of faith who have helped me become the man that I am today. I want you to hear our story, because no matter what you're going through, you are not alone. My village is now your village.
And that's just a quick look at the beautiful women in DeVon Franklin's village, and he joins us now to talk more about this audiobook, It Takes a Woman. So DeVon, thank you for opening up. I thought I knew you, and then I'm listening to this and realized, oh boy, there was so much I didn't know. Why open up and share this story?
You know, it was an awesome opportunity that Audible provided. They came to me and said, would I like to do a book on my story and how the women in my life raised me? And I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. And so I went to my mother and my great aunts that were still alive and said, do you all want to participate in this with me? And they were just so ready and willing to share, help me share my story and basically share their story. And so we felt like, you know, we wanted to provide hope and help, and what better way than to, you know, share our story and what God has done in our life.
You guys are modeling in this conversation being willing and able to have difficult conversations. What did you learn doing this that you didn't know about the women in your village?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I've been around the women in my village my whole life. You know, my mother and my 5 great aunts. The youngest is 76, the oldest is 96. But the thing that I learned is that they were still harboring a lot of pain, a lot of resentment, a lot of guilt, you know, over their past and past decisions, and being able to talk through those decisions and talk through some of their mistakes vis-a-vis this audiobook was very healing for them and very cathartic for them. You know, growing up, I look at them as my superheroes. So when you think of someone as a superhero, you don't really see their vulnerability. But in this project, they were very vulnerable, and I learned that they still had a lot of hurts that I'm so grateful that this project could help them heal.
I am like you in the fact that I've had women raise me and dad wasn't necessarily around and available. Can you speak to Men who are looking at the women who raised them and kind of questioning whether or not a woman can raise a man, a good one.
Yeah, I think that in my opinion, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this book, It Takes a Woman, is to show, what happens when women do, step in and fill in the gap. My father died when I was 9 years old, and it was my grandmother and my mother and my grandmother's 7 sisters that really helped, make the difference. So I think that sometimes that question, if we play into it and we believe it, then that means there's no hope for those children that are raised under those circumstances. And I just don't believe that. I believe that whatever the circumstances are, especially with God, you can make the best of it. So I do believe that if only women are in the house, they can effectively and successfully raise young men.
How does this differ from what you went in to do?
Yeah, originally I thought it was just going to be advice, just words of wisdom and, self-help kind of tropes that myself and that the women in my family, the village would, give to the listener. But as I sat down with my mother and sat down with my great aunts and really had a chance to interview them and talk with them, what I got from them was far deeper. And so once I did that, I had to go and rewrite the entire book. And I'm so glad that I did, because ultimately what the listener hears is far more transparent, truthful, and I believe impactful than what I originally thought this book was going to be.
DeVon Franklin, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just moments away.
So it starts with an idea, and then I sort of play around with it. I let it sit with me for a bit.
Cartoonist Johnnie Christmas takes us inside the pages of this latest work, Swim Team.
Once the sort of idea is kind of a little bit more firm, and I'll write out a sort of a plot or a treatment.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times best-selling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
At number 3.
I call on you, God. Give me your ear and hear my prayer.
It's a Studio 5 first look at Going Home, a new drama series streaming to PureFlix in June, following an inspiring team of nurses who guide patients on the ultimate journey in their final days.
I take care of Betty.
We're going to walk her home together.
I'm praying for a miracle. Why is that wrong?
It's not. You can pray for more. Courage. Peace.
At number 2.
If not for you, babe, I couldn't find the door.
And it's a new morning and a new year for Bob Dylan, the music legend turning 81 today.
And at 81.
Very excited about my new book, Lennon, Dylan, Alice, and Jesus.
Dylan finds himself on the cover of Pastor Greg Laurie's latest book, a spiritual biography of rock and roll.
You begin this book answering the question that many people are going to ask. Why is Pastor Greg Laurie writing a book on Lennon, Dylan, Alice, and Jesus? Why?
Well, it's a great question. To quote the great theologian Joan Jett, I love rock and roll. Okay, so let's start there. I like rock music. I have an interest in pop culture. But the reason I wrote the book was not to be an apologist for rock music or rock musicians. It's really looking behind the curtain at what happens to these people that have everything that most people dream of and see the emptiness of it. In some ways, from this new book is like a modern retelling of the book of Ecclesiastes.
And welcome back. That leaves us with just one more story to share in this week's countdown. We'll share what's finishing on top this week in just a little bit. Right now, we turn our attention to Johnnie Christmas, who is a #1 New York Times best-selling graphic novelist with a new book. It's called Swim Team. Here's a quick look at the man behind the work who'll be joining us to share more.
I draw a few comic book series, Sheltered, Pisces, and Angel Catbird, as well as Firebug. I think what's most exciting to me is process, the creation of the work, having the work come to life, and the sort of interplay between what I had for lunch and what I'll be drawing in the afternoon, and how those things day to day sort of influence the work that's coming off the line. So it starts with an idea, and then I sort of play around with it. I let it sit with me for a bit. The beauty of having a lot of projects on the go is that while I'm drawing one or inking another, I can sort of be conceiving another.
And Johnnie Christmas joins us now, so let's dive right in. What is the heart of this story?
Yeah, Swim Team is about a young kid, Bree, who moves to a Floridian town that I made up called Palmetto Shores. And that's swim crazy. Everyone's crazy about this town. But Bree has a secret. She doesn't know how to swim. So she is in this scenario where she's kind of avoiding this class. And one fateful day, she falls into the pool. And at that point, an elderly neighbor helps her and then teaches her how to swim.
Black children are actually 8 times more likely to drown than whites. Why is this?
Due to issues of access, there aren't as many pools in Black communities. And this is an issue that started generations ago. That was a big issue in place. And so we know that parents who don't know how to swim are less likely to have children who know how to swim. And that ripples down through generations. And then you have a situation in which so many Black youngsters don't have access to water, access to pools in a kind of regular way, so that they can get comfortable enough so that they can have a full and rewarding life in the pool. And these are issues that can be reversed. We can have more access for young people, but it's a very big issue. It's an issue that affected me. I almost drowned as a young person, and it's a big reason as to why I wanted to tell this story.
Now, you use puzzle pieces to help tell this story. How does that work?
I wanted to, our young protagonist, Bree, had this question because she absorbed the stereotype as well that Black people don't swim, because in her neighborhood, no one swam because there were no pools. So her elderly neighbor, Miss Etta, kind of confronts that and says, well, I'm Black and I know how to swim. And so little by little, she's dismantling this idea that Bree has adopted. And one of the motifs that she uses is Miss Etta is a big fan of jigsaw puzzles. So she thinks of Black swimming culture as a jigsaw puzzle. From time immemorial, Black people swam, and it was like a puzzle. But if you start pulling pieces out of a jigsaw puzzle, you start losing the mosaic. You miss the whole point of the entire thing. So by all these restrictive measures that were put into place, lack of access to pools and beaches, little by little pieces were being pulled out. So Miss Etta's thing is that she wants to put Bree back into the puzzle. And I think that's what we can do. We can get all our young people back into a puzzle so we can see the entire picture.
This is a story that encourages us all to try new things, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Bree is very good at math, so she's very trepidatious at things that she's not really good at. So, and swimming being one of them. So one of the lessons of the book is that to try and try and try again. That you're not going to be good at a thing right off the bat. Most people aren't good at almost anything right off the bat. But if you do it enough times, then it becomes yours. It becomes your special way of doing a thing, So it can become your thing, and once it becomes your thing, then you can grow and change and improvise on it. But you have to do it over and over and over again, even though it's hard at first.
Johnnie Christmas, thank you so much for your time. Right now, let's turn to your story in pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
We've shared in our countdown that Pastor Greg Laurie is tracing the lives of rock stars in his latest book, Lennon, Dylan, Alice, and Jesus, the spiritual biography of rock and roll. Well, here are some of the faces of the giants mentioned in the book, and not necessarily seen on the cover or in the title, like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and Justin Bieber, to name a few. So we thought we'd share them in this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Still ahead.
Viper 1 ready. Maverick to range control, stand by. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Going behind the scenes of a long-awaited sequel.
It's this group of people who don't know each other, Top Gun, and recruits, and then all of a sudden they're put in a situation where, like, every single day they're pushed to their limit and pushed to their max.
Studio 5 has an intimate look at Top Gun Maverick.
Just a little higher. That's perfect. Great camera position.
Download the CBN News app. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Watch CBN News Channel live. CBN News, because truth matters. Get the CBN News app today.
Welcome back to Studio 5. It is a long-awaited sequel, Top Gun Maverick, and critics say it's a must-see on the big screen. And some say it's better than the original and one of the best Tom Cruise movies ever. Here's your Studio 5 first look.
Everyone here is the best there is. Who are they going to get to teach us?
Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell.
His exploits are legendary. What he has to teach you may very well mean the difference between life and death.
Your reputation precedes you.
I have to admit, I wasn't expecting an invitation back.
They're called orders, Maverick.
We are cleared into the area. Verify cameras are on. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Here comes some G's. There's 5 G's.
6 G's.
7 G's.
All right. That was awesome.
I wasn't ready to make a sequel until we had a special story worthy of a sequel, and until technology evolved so we could delve deeper into the experience of a fighter pilot.
Viper 1 ready. Maverick to range control, stand by. All right, 3, 2, 1.
After 34 years, Tom Cruise returns as Maverick. This is a competition film about family, friendship, and sacrifice. It's a love letter to aviation. We're going to show you what it's really like to be a Top Gun pilot.
We worked with the Navy and the Top Gun school to formulate how to shoot it practically. Because if we're going to do it, we're going to fly in the F-18s.
The aviation sequences had to be real. So our actors went through 3 months of grueling training.
The Navy says if you eject, you have to be able to survive in the water. So we had to go through that challenging underwater program.
It's intense. You're flipped inverted, and you're having to try and get out.
From there, Tom designed this all-encompassing aviation training for all the actors.
I started them out in a single-engine airplane to build up their spatial awareness inside the aircraft.
Oh, wow. That's amazing!
You just can't create this kind of experience unless you shoot it live.
We're working with a brand new camera system that allows us to put 6 IMAX quality cameras inside the cockpit with the actors. The actors also had to learn how to run the cameras because when they're up in the jet, they have to direct themselves essentially.
Okay, I'm rolling.
I had to really teach them cinematography and the lighting so that they understood what's gonna look good on camera.
Gun angle's great.
Everybody thought it would be impossible for actors to really be in the jets. But that's the gift that Tom gave us, that by the time we got up there, we could handle it.
It's amazing what we see in the cockpit, what an audience is going to experience.
It is aggressive. You can't act that, the distortion in the face. I am so proud of them and what they've done, and it is heavy duty.
Putting us up in these jets, it's very serious. That's why everybody thought it would be impossible. And I think when Tom hears that something's impossible or it can't be done, that's when he gets to work.
That's what I'm talking about.
Flying one of these fighter jets is an absolute thrill ride. We want to make sure that the audience has the same experience.
3, 2, 1, turn.
Aviation film like this has never been done, and chances are will never be done again.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
As you can see, Tom Cruise is back and his Top Gun Maverick is in theaters right now. With that, we have made it to the final story in this week's Uplifting Entertainment Countdown. Here's what's finishing on top this week.
At number 1. That big voice belongs to 10-year-old Victory Brinker, and it's landed the Pennsylvania girl a spot in the record books.
Guinness World Records just declared her the world's youngest opera singer based on her first professional contract, which she got at age 7.
Did you even know what the Guinness Book of World Records was before all this?
Not really.
Probably not, right?
No.
When did you know that you could sing?
My mom said I had perfect pitch when I was 2, and then when I was 6, I asked my mom if she could show me a person who could sing the highest note, and I said I wanted to sing opera.
My hope is that not only my other children, but other children around the world see, like, everybody has a gift.
And Victory loves sharing hers.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A singer.
You're already a singer.
Well, maybe be a better singer.
Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
Welcome back to Studio 5. I love good music, and some songs are on repeat as we're putting this show together. This week, that tune comes from Maverick City's Dante Bowe, Ryan Ophe, and Brandon Lake. Take a listen and hear why Where Would I Be is what's playing in my ear this week. Never Let Me Go. Where would I be? On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's show. So let's take a look at what's ahead on the rundown next week.
Gospel music lovers call her the Duchess of Praise and Worship.
When did you realize, okay, this is something I could do or that I'm going to do for a living? Because we're now on album number 3.
Yes.
So when did you realize this is...
Oh, gosh.
Marika Chisholm joins us in Studio 5 with an inside look at her latest project, Seeker.
I know his name. I know his name. He is the mighty God. I know his name.
So my story's a little different. I didn't come into worship saying, I'm called to worship. I came into leading worship because that was the it thing at the time, and my church needed a youth praise team. And they were like, well, you can sing. Get up here.
We hope you'll join us for that story and a lot more next week. Before we say goodbye this week, we want to return to DeVon Franklin for a final relevant word of wisdom from the women who raised him. How did these women shape your relationships with women in the world today, especially black women in the world?
Oh man, they shaped them in phenomenal, ways and in powerful ways. I think that growing up, me and my two brothers, my older brother, my younger brother, we grew up with a strong respect for women. We grew up not looking at women as objects, realizing that this is a person who has emotions and heart and having a care for women, wanting to respect women. So I think that there was a lot that we learned about how to treat women and understanding the power of women and the person of women that we would have maybe not learned if we weren't raised by women.
DeVon Franklin, thank you. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you and then come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.